It's Willie D, y'all, back with another episode of information and instructions to help you navigate through this wild, crazy, beautiful world. In the studio, Red Grant.
What's up, Willie? How
Hey,
you? What's up?
What's up, King?
It's a good time, man. First of all, thank you
Absolutely
for bringing me on your show because you risking a lot to bring a real one on here.
I don't think so. I think I'm right on par. I think this is what my audience expects.
You know, authenticity is the key to life, and a lot of people aren't authentic anymore.
Right.
And you bringing somebody on that is authentic is noble of you.
Right. Thank
noble.
You,
noble.
You well, you know, this is a game, recognized game. You know, community activist, businessman, father, husband, good friend. I could tell your energy, man. You know what I'm saying? Like just how you deal with people, man. The way you move. Plus, I don't hear nothing scandalous about you out there. You know, I be listening. You know, and you know, because you
got your ears to the street.
I got my ears to the street, man, and it's always positive vibes when your name come up.
That's respectful. That's respectful. I try to keep God right there.
Yeah.
You know, and when he in the circle, I move differently.
Right.
Because I've been around a lot of stuff that, you know, I moved in the wrong way.
Right.
You know, coming up in Washington, D.C., you know, you always around certain things that can sway you to go this way or sway you to go that way. Mm-hmm. And I've learned over the years when I swayed to go this way, I've ended up in a lot of trouble.
Right.
A lot of bad places, you know, and I learned my lessons from them.
Yeah.
So I just try my best to stay in certain positions now.
Yeah.
And understand and be appreciative that I am in those positions. And I represent a lot of good people, a lot of people that respect me.
Do you think that's what kept you on the straight and narrow more so than just your own free will? Like knowing that you represent a lot of people. Like, was there like your mother, your grandmother, your father, somebody there that you really respected that you didn't want to let down?
Well, I mean, you know, I got grandparents in my life, you know, grandmothers that was like on my head, you know, my mother's mother, you know, Grandma Joe, and my father's mother, Grandma Grant. They both raised me to be a solid just solid.
Yeah.
And I appreciate them for that. You know, like to this day, I just hear their voice in my head, like, Rodney, you doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? You know you shouldn't do this. My grandmother used to be like, you been good? And even if I've been bad, I used to be like, yeah, Grandma. You know, because we strive to be good. We just put ourselves in positions to be bad. So, you know, I think it's my upbringing. I think, you know, just seeing how the lessons that people learn that did the wrong things. You know, I've always said, Reg, you beat being shot at 4 times. You beat being stabbed 2 times. You beat being locked up and getting allowed to get out that situation and come home and become an entertainer. And, you know, these are lessons that I learned early in my life that kind of shaped me from being, you know, wanting to be on that crazy path.
It seemed like to me you had a pretty good foundation with your grandparents, right? So what inspired you to want to hit the streets and test the waters?
I'm going to say like this. I had good grandparents. My father was a G. My mom's was a G. You know, they separated when I was, 5 years old and got divorced when I was 5. And my mother started being a single parent. And, you know, she was on our heads. She was on me and my sister Chantel head. She raised us to be like, make sure you in the house at this time. Make sure you ain't in these streets. You know, I think she became more paranoid without my father in the house. So, you know, but she was working 2 or 3 jobs. So we still was in the streets. Mm-hmm. We still was doing the things that she probably didn't want us to do. You know, my sister, I love her to death, but my sister used to steal cars when we was little, my mother's car.
Right.
So she'll steal a car. Ashanti, please
Well,
forgive
stealing
me.
your mama car ain't stealing cars. You can't put that on your sister, man.
She stole it off so much,
I
though.
thought it was Grand Theft Auto or
Nah,
something.
it felt like it. She knocking at the door in the morning time. Rodney, let me in. I got the car. But nah, you know, she was a little bit more like on edge, and I think she protected me too. My sister protected me. Like, she was the first one. She was like my Don King. She was like the Don King of the neighborhood. She made sure I knew how to fight. She would set up all the fights for me. And like, I come in the house, she'd be already on the phone, like, my brother come around and kick your brother ass. Like, and I'd be fighting. She made me tough. So, you know, but I just had that solid foundation came from like my family. My whole family is just some solid people. They funny as hell. They all hilarious. Like, you know, I come from a family of laughers.
What made people fear your sister? Was she bigger than everybody?
Nah, she was just like an alley cat. She could just fight, you know what I mean? And but she the sweetest girl in the world. But when we was little, all I remember her doing was like, you got to protect yourself. We grew up in the hoods in Washington, D.C., you know, Southeast Washington, Northwest Washington, Rayford Evans, and all of them was our neighbors. You know, we grew up in the projects that, you know, we didn't know we was in the projects, but we was in the projects. And I think she wanted me to learn early that you got to protect yourself and, you know, protect your family. And I was able to do that, you know, and it just made me solid early.
You know, speaking of, you know, the people you grew up around, I've always looked at DC like it was like two cities in one. You had Black DC and then you had Capitol Hill DC. And it just seems like two worlds. Capitol Hill DC was only for, you know, maybe a quarter of a mile or so, you know, quarter of a mile by quarter of a mile, half a mile, whatever you want to say. And then the rest was like Black DC. And it always seems like DC was like one of those cities that had the best and then the not so best of everything. You know, like, because I spent a lot of time in DC. DC is one of my favorite cities. I played Howard Theater. I don't know
they love you in DC.
Yeah.
The go-go bands love you in DC. Yeah. They love all y'all. Like that whole y'all, the ghetto boys of Willie D's, the Scars, and all that. Yeah. They love y'all. Y'all are some of the realest ones because y'all came and was involved with the culture.
Right.
You know, it's a whole culture in Washington, D.C. You know, you come there, you thinking you're going to see the White House, the monuments, the museums, and all of that. And you find out that it is neighborhoods and real culture. It's a go-go scene. Our go-go is something that we honor. You know, all of us grew up off of Chuck Brown, Rare Essence, you know, your Backyard Band, Junkyard Band. You know, I can go on and on, you know, and it's just like our culture is different. It's like Houston, man. Y'all got a different culture, you know. You know, y'all had a culture of independence, you know, and that independence drove a lot of people to be successful here. And DC sometimes, you know, we were the forgotten city sometimes when it come to music because we were so on the go-go, but everybody was stealing from our music and putting it in their music. So now we're getting our shine, and it's just a great thing. But if you cross that bridge and you go past Capitol Hill, it gets serious after dark.
World. Yeah, it's a different world. And that's what I was alluding to. Like, when you hear things like I know you recently ran for mayor, and we'll come back. I'll circle the wagon on that. But when you hear the president and you hear politicians who, you know, pull up in chauffeurs to their office and they're sitting down at the restaurants in the immediate Capitol Hill area, they're eating these big expensive lobsters and steaks, and they're at the nicest steak houses, and they're wearing their fur coats and they're great, you know, $3,000 suits, and they're talking about how great the country is and how much they love the people, and they have all of that power in such close proximity to people who are actually struggling in that exact city.
Mm.
What are your thoughts?
Well, we didn't really understand politics, even though we was politicking in Washington, D.C. But we did know Marion Barry. And he was a person he came from what we came from. So our vision of politics was a dude that cared about young people. He cared about the seniors. He gave everybody jobs. He never falsehood on his promises. And that's what we knew. He knew your name. And that's how a politician should be. And that's why they had to take him down. Because he made more millionaires, black millionaires, than any other mayor in the history of the world. He had DC so solid, we was damn near 80% African American. Everybody had jobs. Everybody was flourishing. And they had to take him down because he was going to give to his people. So that was the politician that we was first, exposed to. He spoke at my graduation. He spoke at probably 9 graduations in one day. That's the type of heart he had. So to me, we really didn't worry about the politicians that was on Capitol Hill because they wasn't really affecting our life. The local politicians are who we cared about, the Fontroys and the Barrys, and those are the people that I knew about. We didn't even understand what the presidency and the Congress and all of that. We had to look at conjunction, junction, and all of that to what's your function. And, I'm just a bill. I'm only a bill. That's the only thing we knew. It's a bill.
Whoever was saying that was the bill guy was a player.
He was a player.
He was a player, man.
Yes, I'm only Hill, Capitol Hill. Yeah, a long journey. Yeah. He taught us about what a bill was and how it can go through different stages to become law. And a lot of people don't even understand their local laws, and they don't get involved with it. When people tell me, man, I ain't got to do nothing, I be like, man, you don't even know how much you not going to get the stuff that you want because you ain't involved with it. So, I really didn't really pay attention to, those. I didn't even see a white person, and this is a true story, like other than like out in the street, like we didn't have white people in our community. We had Asians who ran the corner stores and black people. I had one white teacher my whole time I was in high school. So everybody was African American. Everybody was black. That was my life growing up.
Well, you see them now because it's gentrified out there now. I was out there recently, boy, and it's like, ooh, man, it's amazing what they can do when they want to do something. It's amazing how they can clean up the streets and, tear down dilapidated buildings and, put up pretty stuff and flowers and parks and things.
Yeah. Invest their money into the things they want to invest in.
Just carve out a little space for the bicycles to have a path. The cyclists. It's just amazing what they can do when they want to do something. They never have the money until they want to have the money. It's absolutely amazing. Let's circle back to Marion Barry, because you also ran for mayor, and one of the things that you would have had to deal with is what happened with Marion Barry, where I do agree that they did target Marion Barry, but Marion Barry also gave them an excuse. They already have their reason, but you cannot give them an excuse to take you down. And it was his drug use that they used to help take him down. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I had to correct you.
You okay?
I had to correct. It wasn't his drug use.
What was it?
I think he liked women. I think at the time, like, he he liked women. That if you look at that video of when they took him down, he wasn't even trying to do no drugs, you know.
But that's what they highlighted.
But he wasn't trying to do no. He had told her 3-4 times, "No, I'm good on that." He was really saying, I want the vajayjay, I want the cootie, you know what I'm saying? And she kept pressing the issue, and he hit it whatever he did, but
did it.
Yeah, but the point is, they try to expose him as a drug addict, like they do all of us when they try to take us out. He's a drug addict, or you know what I'm saying, he don't know how to handle his, you know, he put himself, he was a man that put himself in a certain situation, like most men do sometimes, you know. They put themselves in certain situations, and you know, he was set up.
Well, I'm actually a fan of Marion Barry, so I'm not trying to I'm not trying to be critical of Marion Barry. What I'm trying to do is to have an open and honest discussion about, you know, his tenure and, you know, and I understand what he meant to the city, because I know he was beloved. He wouldn't have been reelected as many times as he was if he had not been. But my thing has always been, as Black folks in this country, we know that we're under a microscope at all times, and there are people out there, gatekeepers, they resent us going into doing anything other than being on the streets and becoming junkies or whatever, or people that they can exploit and send to jail and profit off and all that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. When you start entering arenas like trying to become a doctor, a lawyer, a politician, you got to be on the up and up all the way, because they're going to be following and watching everything that you do. And
as a Black man, I would say, as a Black man,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, as a Black man, yeah, because they do the whole situation. They coke heads. They do all that. They do the whole thing. They they drunk.
Yes.
They drink all day. They womanize it. All of that. They do the whole thing. But they put us on, like, you know, we have to stand on this pedestal of, you know, higher levels when we become in that position. And I guess that's what we have to do. You know, but I'm just saying, don't make it seem like it's not happening.
No,
you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean, though. I know. But when we get powerful, you know this for a fact. When we get powerful, they have to take us down because our voice is too powerful. You know, Marion Barry used to come in our neighborhoods and sit on a stoop and talk to people like me and you talking. He had that ability to speak to youngins and make them feel powerful. You know, he made leaders like myself. You know, and so many leaders in our city, I can name them over and over. So many young people that would have went down that road, went down this road because of Marion Barry.
Exactly.
You know, he gave summer jobs to every kid who wanted to work. He gave, in high school, you can leave high school and have a job in high school and have a career in the government of Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. Firefighters, police officers, all came out of high school. He had a channel where you can get hired right out of high school. Why not take him down?
Because, well, they did it. I think if that was a single word that we could use to describe what it was that he had that they resented the most, was inspiration. See, the worst thing that you can do for the oligarchy, the status quo, is to inspire young Black people. If you can inspire a young Black person and let them know they can be something other than what they're saying that they can be, these little scraps right here, you can actually do whatever the hell you really can do it if you really wanted to. It's all up to you, putting your mind to it and putting the work in, right? Mm-hmm. And that work includes keeping squares out of your circle. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's that having that inspiration. the reason why they killed J. Edgar Hoover, the former director of the FBI, said that they had to get rid of Malcolm X because they could not risk the chance of having a black messiah. That means that a black person that black people look up to, that they're inspired by.
Yeah.
The hating ass, jealous bastards, they killed that man because he actually did what they refused to do, and that's invoke inspiration. You know, so that's why they killed Malcolm. That's why they killed Martin. That's why they killed JFK.
Yeah.
You know, it's these guys who had so many people looking at them and being inspired. But, and so, you know, we've always had a lot of haters in this country. You know,
yeah,
the same ones, they had that same spirit destroyed Rosewood. That same spirit destroyed
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
But I'm glad you used the word inspired because, you know, I risk my life every day to inspire young people. You know, with my program and my nonprofit Beyond Your Block that me and my wife has put so many young people in better positions right now. You know, we take them off their blocks. We teach them filmmaking. You know, something that I love, like filmmaking inspires me. We teach them how to have better habits. We take them on excursions to places that they wouldn't normally go. You know, take them beyond their block. And when you inspire a young person, your heart gets open to like things that you know that you need to be doing. And to see they smile, to see them like, damn, yes. You know, I was playing today with Jared Crane, one of the owners of the Astros, and I told him, I said, the way a kid looks when they see a different place that they've never been, that's what I inspired to teach them and show them, because I got a chance to get out my neighborhood and see things that inspired me, that changed my behavior and my habits. And I want to see them be able to do the same thing. Now my students coming back and they working with me. They teaching me stuff. And that's all we want to do. We want to give people opportunities to be great. And we got to pick our head up from social media and start looking up to God. And I believe that.
Who believed in you first?
Dang. I think coaches. You know, I had some great coaches, man. Like Coach Banner at Dunbar High School. And it chokes me up because I know they cared about me. You know, they cared about me. Mm-hmm. When I was a young Southeast dude, catching the bus all the way uptown just to play for a team to stay out of trouble. You know, coaches, Coach Davis at Savannah State University cared about me. And so many other when I played like Little League, coaches. My parents believed in me. I miss them, both of them. You know, my father, Donald and Suzette. I miss both of them. But they believed in me. They wanted me to do better in life. And I think those are the people that you go back and say, I don't want to disappoint nobody. So I think those type of people, shoot, Katt Williams believed in me.
Yeah, you've been on tour with Katt for a minute now, huh?
Hell yeah. Best job I ever had. You know?
Best comedy tour I've ever been on. Like, to check out, you know what I mean? Like I every time I get a chance to check y'all out, man, I'm coming.
Man, it's inspiring to be around a great person, first of all, a great talent.
But y'all whole clique is great though. Like it's you, primarily it's you, Mark Curry,
Mm-hmm.
David. Tommy Davidson.
Yep.
And
Melanie Camacho.
Camacho.
Zoo-Man Miller.
Yeah,
And now Corey Bell is on there.
Right.
And then you got people
and
like
see,
Lil Mo and Lady of Ray's rocking out, you know?
Right.
And
right.
I sit and watch, there's some deep stuff. I sit and watch some of the greatest comedians in the world every night.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm talking about, if you can't get better being around a Mark Curry, a Tommy Davidson,
yeah,
a Katt Williams, a Melanie Camacho, a Zoo-Man Miller, you're not gonna get good. You might as well give it up. Because not only do we inspire each other on stage, off stage, we're helping each other develop.
You know, I picked that up, man. Like I picked that up, just like being around y'all, man. It's first of all, I'm always grateful because I feel like it's a privilege because all of y'all are so good at what y'all do. Y'all all legends, you know. So it's I just feel like I'm getting a little piece of history every time I be around y'all. And you know, for Katt to be able to pull y'all together, all of you, that clique that y'all got, I mean, that's the hottest comedy ticket in the country.
It is. And I tell people like this, you can eat stale bread or you can get a fresh loaf of bread. We the fresh loaf of bread. You know, you can go online and look at a clip of some people and get some stale. It's cool. You can eat stale bread. People eat it all the time. But if you get that fresh loaf of bread, that's what we are. You know, you bite into it, it's like, yeah, this is what I've been missing.
You know what I like too, man? I like the fact that although all of you guys have accomplished, you know, various degrees of success, and you've been doing it for decades, y'all easily got over 100 and something years collectively. Like
that sounds real old right there.
But you guys, hey man, getting
no,
old.
You're right. No, you're right. You're right.
Old
though.
is the goal.
Yeah, well, I was just talking to one of your producers. I was like, you know, when people say how old are you? I said, nah, how young am I?
Yeah.
You know, am I able to do what I need to do? I wake up in the morning, I meditate, I do push-ups, I do sit-ups, I try to drink as much water as I can because some of these youngins is old. And some of the older generation is young because how we live and what we go through, you know, the portals that we reinventing ourselves all the time. Energy is right, you know. That's what you want to strive for. Yeah, getting old is the key to life, you know, but how you get old is what I tell people, you know, how you matriculate into that process.
Yeah, that's important.
You know, like I'm always reinventing myself. I got a 16, 17-year-old kid that keeps me inspired.
Who thinks she knows everything?
She do. She know more than me. We got a show now called Girl Dad Sports.
How do you balance that off? Like, because you, at the end of the day, you still got more experience. You still live longer. Like, does it do anything to your ego when they know more than what you know?
That's crazy because it do, but you gotta know how to handle it, right?
Yeah.
When they know more than you, especially in their world.
Right.
In their world, they know you don't know what they know. In their world.
Right.
Because you ain't paying attention to all of it. You pay attention to some of it. But I try to stay musically inclined with my kid. People say, Rich, you know all the songs. How you know all the songs? You know this generation and you know this generation. Because I like music. And if it's hot, it's hot. And I want to stay connected with my kid.
Right.
I don't want her to ever think that this thing don't know nothing. Nah, I want to sing in the morning. If you look at my Instagram, we sing in the morning, we partying in the morning. We trying to build a relationship. And that's how I've been with all my kids, you know. And You know, I had my first kid when I was 17 years old. You know, Ashley was born, and I didn't even know how to be a father.
You're still in high school.
Yes. And her mother ain't know how to be a mother. She was too young, too.
Do you think that may have had something to do with you getting kicked out 2 years later?
Well, out of school?
Yeah, out of school.
I think my attitude was bad. I think that.
Did you feel any pressure from fatherhood? Or
I mean, I felt a lot of pressure for fatherhood because I had to be a father.
Yeah.
You know, my mother wasn't gonna have it no other way. And you know, I look at the pictures of me and her mother, like holding her at young ages, 17, 15 years old. And I'm like, dang, we didn't even know what we was doing. We was too young to even think about like how to change a pamper. And there's a lot of youngers out there like that. You know, forced to be in a position to be grown before you are even grown. They say your brain don't even develop until you're a certain age. So now you just out there in the world. But I was an emotional little kid. That's why I got kicked out of school. You know, I couldn't stop fighting. You know, I boxed just like you boxed. I boxed from the time I was 9 to maybe 8 till I was 14 years old. And I felt like I needed to punch people.
Now, where's this fury coming from?
I don't know. I think it comes just from my father was like that, man. My father was like, he'll whoop your ass.
But what are you fighting over mostly?
Well, I think at that time, I just was like, I didn't know how to, he used to tell me, and I tell young people this right now, you got to know how to control your emotions, right? As a human being, just period. You got to know how to take a step back, breathe for a second, and not be more reactional, because that's always going to get you in trouble. And I didn't learn it till I got kicked out, lost a football scholarship, went from Savannah State, then went to Georgia Southern, got locked up, damn near had to do 5 years for something, for my inability not to control my emotion. Came home, had to be put in a position to sell cars. I became a car salesman. It was my first job back. I was the worst car salesman in the world. I sold 2 cars. One was
in what amount of time?
In a month and a half, I sold 2 cars. One was to a young lady that became my girlfriend. She told me, look, you ain't got to sell cars no more. You can go back to school and get your education. So I went back to UDC, University District of Columbia. My partner, Big Rob, who was one of my frat brothers, shout out to Kappa Alpha Psi, fraternity
Rob Pearson?
Yes, yeah. Rob Pearson. He told me, man, you funny as hell. You should get on stage and do Def Comedy Jam. And it's funny because I lied to the president of the student government and told him I was already a comedian because Def Comedy Jam was coming to UDC.
Right.
So he put me on stage. He let me go on early. I ain't know what the hell I was doing. I just joned on everybody in the crowd.
Yeah.
And then I met Bob Sumner, and he told me if I come to, work on my material, get my stuff together, and he let me come to the Peppermint Lounge. And I remember going to the Peppermint Lounge. I was 19 years old.
I thought you hit Mr. Henry's first.
Well, that's where I started at, Mr. Henry's.
Yeah.
But that was my place I used to go every week to get my stuff sharp to go and be ready for this big moment.
Yeah.
Because, people used to come back and see us. But when I finally got that moment, because Mr. Henry's in DC was like, had the best talent. You had the worst crowd. I mean, you had to bring it.
Well, the best crowd.
With the best crowd. Yeah,
the best crowd, because they're going to be honest with you. That's honest. The best crowd.
I remember the first time I went on stage at Mr. Henry's too, and Big Rob was with me. And he was, I ain't get booed, but it was like real quiet. And I don't know, as a comedian, quiet is worse than boo. And I remember I got in the car. He was like, man, why you ain't talking about that stuff you be talking about off stage, man? I was like, what you mean? He was like, man, talk about that real shit that you talk about off stage, like when you making us laugh. I was like, you talking about my mother, my father, my sisters, my brothers, and my friends and all that. He was like, yeah, nigga, talk about yourself, nigga. And that shit clicked. I was like, damn, talk about me.
And that's easy.
Easy as hell.
Yeah.
I started talking about me. I said, damn, me is funny.
Right.
My life is funny as hell. And I started developing me instead of trying to like I don't know where I was trying to go, but he got me on the straight and narrow, man. And now it's easy for me to talk about me and develop me and be honest to people and authentic with people and say, this is what I'm going through. I was at the strip club the other night. Girl said I had a relationship face. I'm like, I got to talk about this. You feel me? I look like I'm in a relationship.
Did you ask her, what does looking like you're in a relationship look like? What does a relationship face look like?
I must was looking like, look like I had a place to go.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, but it's just like those type of things, man. Like if you come see my show, and I talk to my wife about it all the time because she know that I'm going to tell the truth about us, about me and her.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I want to ask you, like, because you say I talk about me. Me is funny, but what is it like when you include your wife in those me stories?
It's funny because
do you run them by her first? Do you run
not all of them? Not all of them, but I do tell her most of them.
Okay.
And I know it's gonna be super funny if she do this.
She don't like it. Hey, say that. Hey, that's the way things were with my kids, Mom. Like when I was doing that real gangster, man, I would write something and I try it out on her. She like, if she didn't like it, I was like, yeah, this is good.
It's gonna be good.
This is good.
Ooh. Yeah. And sometimes she'll tell me, my wife would be like, I don't know. I mean, I guess what you gotta do it. And she is like, it'll start with a little premise, right? It'll start with a little premise. And then the next time she sees, she say, oh, you did that. You developed that. Mm-hmm. You did that. And she's my biggest critic in a good way.
Have you ever told a joke that she was like, she got mad at you about? Not that she just disagreed with. Have you ever told a joke about her that she was mad about? Maybe she was at the show and everybody was laughing, just gut busting laughing, but she didn't like it.
I think I've told jokes that embarrassed her, you know, because they might come up to her afterwards and say, girl, you did that. And I think it was embarrassing. So I don't stop telling personal stories, but I'm aware of what might embarrass her.
And see, as a fan, I'm sitting back here thinking like, Red's so real. He be talking about real stuff that's going on. Is he embellishing this, or did that really happen?
No. Let me say something about comedy. If you're a real one, your premises are always real. If you're
reality, yeah.
And God gives us ability to formulate bigger realities within that. You know, because you got to take people on a journey when you telling these jokes, when you telling these stories, and when you becoming in that world. Because my world ain't just standing up in front of a microphone and being that, yeah, man. You know, I'm expressive. You know, I'm letting you know I'm acting this stuff out. I'm an actor too, so I need to let you know what I did in those moments. So that's why they say, Red, you physical, you be acting, and you take it to another level, because I can't just tell a story. I got to show you the story. And that's the difference between the people you see on the Katt Williams Golden Age tour. They're going to tell you and show you the story. They're not going to just say the premise and get the ha-ha, nah, we need you to feel what we saw and what we doing. And, you know, my wife understands now that I'm going to be Red. Because it was so for so many years, I felt like I wasn't Red. You know, And it took a long time for me to get read back after I did politics. Because there's so many, they teach you in politics to not really answer the questions. And I met so many unauthentic people in politics that I almost became unauthentic. I had to go back, I had to get away from everything and go into a cave almost and pray to get me back.
When you were on the campaign trail, did anybody walk up to you and like get in your face and be like, yeah, I'm gonna vote for you, but if you want to get my vote, you got to do this?
Oh man, they come up, they try you all the time.
Yeah.
You know, the best ones are the seniors.
Yeah.
You walk on their porch.
That's what I had in mind when I was doing it.
Yeah, you walk on their porch and you think you get ready to get a vote. No, they might like your personality. They might like everything about you, but you got to show them who you are. You know, you got to earn their vote. And that's the thing about politics. You know, you got to make people believe that you are that candidate for them.
You made a lot of people believe that you was the candidate.
Because I felt like I am the candidate for them. I feel like I would have been the best mayor of Washington, D.C.
Why do you think it is that you fell short, though?
I feel like it's a number of reasons why I think I fell short. I didn't really understand. I'd never been in politics before in my life. So.
But you have been in politics. You've been living politics.
Yeah, but you know, I didn't, I think first of all, in Washington, D.C. is a Democratic city. I ran as an independent.
Okay.
But I got more votes. The most votes that an independent had gotten before I got in the race was 10,000 votes. I got 95,000 votes.
Damn.
So, and it showed the city, I opened up the door for other people now that want to aspire to run for office. So many people running for office now that I can't believe it. People that you never would think was running. Some of my friends are running now that I never thought would run, you know? But I opened that door up for people to run.
Did you lose to an incumbent?
Yes,
Okay.
3-time mayor.
Okay, yeah, that's already different.
Yeah, Marion Barry, 3-time mayor.
Yeah.
She been holding it down for 3 terms. This term right here, she already made the announcement that she's not running anymore. So it's 2 other.
Backdoor it? You gonna come back?
Nah. You know what I'm gonna do? To be honest with you, Will, I'm going to use my influence to let people know who I think they should vote for.
Yeah, so you're going to be the king maker instead of the king. Yeah,
you know,
there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of power in that because now you're not stuck in one position and relegated to just one lane. You can like open up several lanes for several people that you believe is qualified to lead the city.
And I could be myself.
Yeah, exactly.
I could take a shot of tequila in front of everybody.
And not have to worry about getting blasted on the news.
Yeah, I can walk in. If somebody hand me a joint, I can hit the joint and pass it back and not nobody really say, oh, you see that? You see what he just did?
Yeah, because most of them, I ain't going to say most of them, but many politicians smoke weed. Many of them do coke. Many of them do. Many of them drink. They are people. Those are just titles. And that's why they fall so hard because, they have to keep up
that image, man.
They have to keep up that image and play this role. And so when they end up sinning and falling short of the glory of God, it's a hard fall.
It is a hard fall, man. And I ain't gonna lie to you. God gave me a vision when I ran for office. He said, sell everything in Los Angeles. Tell your wife to retire from her job. Take your kid out to school, go to D.C. and run for mayor. I was like, God, you sure you talking to me? But I ain't hesitate. I listened. And I sold everything in Los Angeles. And I brought my family home to an uncomfortable environment. And I did something that I didn't really know what I was doing, but I didn't ask the questions about what I didn't know. I just used the power of what I did know. I knew how to be a people person. I knew I can get out and knock on more doors than them and get to people and talk real and be authentic with them. You know, that's why my documentary that's coming out, I Was Born to Run, it's going to be one of the most powerful documentaries ever, that's showing me running for office. And we're editing it right now, put it through Katt's studio. And, you know, all the stuff that I'm working on now, I'm just putting it through my brother's studio. I asked him, can I? Because I'm humble. Please let me put it through your studio. I don't want it to go nowhere else. And these are the things I want to show people. I want to show people how hard it is to run for office, but how you can do it too. You can run for office too, but you got to have your ducks in line. You know, I used to ask the question why I think I didn't, you know, I couldn't raise enough money.
I was going to get to that piece. I did want to ask you, how difficult was it to fundraise?
Let me say this. They already have a network of people that will give at the drop of an email. I had to go and find people in Washington, D.C. and around the country to donate. And I had some great donors. We raised, you know, almost $1 million, but they was raising $7-8 million. They already had it in their bank.
Yeah, because she have coffers. I mean, from previous, you know, campaigns. So
and that's what they worked for. They worked to get there.
Yeah.
And as much as I in the street grinding and talking, if the people don't get out their house and vote, especially the people that is your base, you're not gonna win.
Why do you think that people believe that you should serve without asking for money?
That's a good question, man. I don't know, man, because I didn't know I needed money. I thought I could do it with no money. To be honest,
you thought your name could carry it up because you had it, because your name is a high profile, you know, but that's more national. But in that city, her name. Well, your name.
My name was huge in the city. You know what I mean? It's the point of, you know, it's the point of, can you get your base out? You know, my base, you know, Ward 8, Ward 7, Ward 8 and Ward 7 in Washington, D.C. can win any election. They got the most people, power. We sometimes don't know it, but we got the most power in Ward 7 and 8. And if we got out to vote, we would dominate all politics.
Well, that's the same thing that happened with Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett had, I think they said 96% of the black vote, but hell, more than half of registered black voters in Texas did not go to the polls.
You see what I'm saying?
And she only lost by 6 percentage points.
You see what I'm saying?
So she could have won it just with black people alone.
If you Google the percentage of people, registered voters in Ward 7 and 8, maybe 12% of them vote.
That's a damn shame.
And I'm telling people, like, even in the city, like, this race is coming up, you know, we can't have a 12%. We gotta get the numbers up. We gotta know our power.
But you do understand why people are so disenchanted with the voting process.
I do, because I was one of them. You know.
So what can be done though to change that? Because, you know, after a while, you know, you keep on, you know, beating the same, you know, path or whatever. You know, you just decide, you know what, man, it ain't budging. It's nothing happening, and you know, like how much. You know, I know I'm pissing people off, but black people have been voting, like we've been the most consistent voting bloc forever. You know, like we're always there. We're there. But we get the least amount out of our elected officials time and time again.
I agree.
Do black people deserve to stay home at least 1 or 2 elections until somebody, start doing the right damn thing, or we find somebody who can actually be held accountable?
I think it starts with community, right? I think we should, and I'm kind of going backwards, just to let you know, I'm going backwards. Because sometimes you got to go backwards to get forward. We got to establish community better. And I'm just talking about community all around this country, even to go as far as to Africa. We got to establish our tribes again and start entrusting in our tribes, because we so split in our community that we ain't on the same accord of where we want to go. And that's, to me, something that we should work on for ourselves first. Before we can get anybody leading us, we need to lead ourselves. We need to have an agenda. That's what politics taught me. Like, we don't have an agenda. We don't even know sometimes which way we are going, and we don't go together.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. But I will say this, man, and I know, there's a yin and a yang for everything. Yang for everything. But it is this, nobody, absolutely no group of people are in the unique position that we're in, where we're being targeted by our own government for failure. We're the only group in this country that are being targeted by our own government for failure. We're being attacked from the educational side, from the employment side, from the maternal side. We're being attacked in every way that you can imagine. When they're building the prisons, they have black bodies in mind.
Yes, they do.
And so one of the difficult things, one of the reasons why we have so many coconuts in our race is that the people who are running the show, they reward sellouts. If you can sell black people out, if you can come tell us what they got going on, they trying to build something, if you can let us know, we'll reward you.
Yeah.
If you can identify black people who black people really like, the majority of black people really love, they care about, if you can attack them, we'll reward you. See? So you got these stooges all over the internet who just, their whole job, they're black as hell.
Yeah.
But they attack black people all day, every day. And it's easy for them to find things that are wrong with black people collectively.
Yeah.
But they will never, ever, ever collectively call white people out or even any other group out. Their whole job is to attack the black. That's what they do. And that is because they are rewarded by the so-called dominant class, right? They're rewarded by all of these people who have these top positions, all these people who run the show at the networks, including sports, ESPN. You start talking about I don't want to get you in no trouble because I know you got scripts and stuff, but but you got, this is me talking. This is me. But it's a lot of these people that are in these executive positions of power, and they will reward people who sell black people out. And so we're in that really sticky area where they make it so hard. They constantly infiltrate. And so some of them think that, well, the easiest way to do it, let me just go over here and go with them and get the money and just save myself instead of staying with my people and fighting, and so that we could stick together and fight and perhaps come out on top. They'd rather say, you know what, let me just go over here and try to do my own thing and look out for myself.
Well, I mean, they did that in slavery too, though.
Exactly.
Willie Lynch syndrome is real. You pit us against each other, the rich against the poor, the light skin against the dark skin, the male against the female, the ones that live in the hill and the ones that live in the valley, the young against the old. You can keep them separated, and they will perpetuate. That was the word he used. They will perpetuate it to the point where you won't have to even do it anymore.
Yeah, they put them on cruise control. They put it on cruise control for you.
So, but when you recognize that it's being done, that's my thing. When you start recognizing that it's, oh, shoot, this really happening? That's when we have to have that moment of clarity also. That those people that might take that apple and go on that side don't affect us because we see what's really happening. I'm just really discussing.
We got to start doing something to them, though.
What would you suggest? Because I agree with you. We do. Like, we got to do stuff to people. Like, we can't have, we allow people to come on a block and shoot up the whole block with grandmamas on the porch.
We got to start doing something to them, too.
Yes. Kids in the neighborhood playing.
Yeah.
And they think it's all right. It's not cool. We got to be our own law enforcement. We got to police ourselves. And
our neighborhoods were always safer when we did police ourselves.
I agree.
When we didn't sit back and wait for the police to show up and try, because they've never had an incentive to make our neighborhoods safe. They're part of the problem. And we can't allow these uncivilized mutts who look like us to wreak havoc on the neighborhood and make it unsafe to walk to the store. They make it so unsafe that walking to the store is an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So we gotta get used to saying, yeah, that's my cousin, but he gotta go.
Yeah, and the percentages of them is lower than the people who are trying to do good.
Exactly. Right.
But it makes us look like we all in that system.
I think part of it too is that some of us were in the system, and now we're back, and we're doing okay. We're off the streets. We might not have the life we want, but we're on the straight and narrow, and we see the youngsters doing something, and we go, well, that was once me, so I can't really come down on them because that was me one time, and I don't want to feel like a hypocrite. Same thing with guys online. There's certain things that guys lived a certain life, and they came back home, and now they then found Facebook, and they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram or whatever, and they see a lot of foolishness, but they're silent. They won't say anything. Because
you don't think they're scared?
They don't want to be felt. They don't want to be thought of as a hypocrite. I
think they're scared.
I don't think the dudes. I don't think the real street dudes, solid street dudes who've had respect when they were inside and had respect before they went in. I don't think those dudes are scared. Yes, a number of dudes are scared. Those are the same scared dudes who will not step in to defend a woman's honor. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So I think that. Yeah, there are some scary dudes out there, but I don't think the street guy who had respect before he went in and when he came out is scared. I think that oftentimes that guy is the guy, like I was initially. I was like, man, I can't say nothing about this because I did the same thing. But when you know better, you do better. And that's what we gotta give ourselves grace to save our youth.
Yeah,
we got to give ourselves, those of us who've been out there and wreaked havoc. We owe it more to our communities to repair those communities. We owe more to the youth to show them the way.
I agree.
We owe even more. We have a greater debt to pay because we did more to cause the destruction.
Yeah.
So we owe a greater debt. So. Damn what some sucker saying about, oh man, you being a hypocrite. Oh, well, what about when you did this? Or what about when you said that? you damn fool, you don't tell the pastor that.
Right.
You know, because most pastors, they got a pass.
Mhm.
Most of them got a pass.
Yep.
You don't tell the pastor when the pastor's sitting up there talking about, and we got to love our neighbor.
Right.
Well, Pastor, you ain't said that when you bust Miss Ollie in the head. You know
Back in 74.
Yeah, you don't do the pastor like that.
Right,
So,
I agree.
So we got to give ourselves grace and permission, man, to reclaim our communities.
I think another thing is about people live too far in the past, right? And they live too far in the future. We got to start living like today. Every day is a different day. All right, you might have messed up yesterday or years ago, but today you got a chance to be a better person, be a different individual. And you might fall short today. And the next day is your today again. We got to stop living so far ahead, man.
Well, I think it's a good idea. Like, I'm with you there. But I just want to like extend it a little bit. Like, so I think that living in the moment, like operating in the moment, is a great idea. But operating in the moment with our eye on the future, because I was reading something by this guy, Larry Silverstein. You know who that is?
I heard his name.
So this is a guy who purchased the Twin Towers a few weeks before it was destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And he purchased the Twin Towers for $3.2 billion on a 99-year lease. 99-year lease. Now this is an old dude. He probably ain't got 99 more days.
Right.
But he purchased the Twin Towers with a 99-year lease. And he paid $3.2 billion. And a few weeks later, Twin Towers went down and he collected over $1 billion. So he was living in the moment, operating in the moment with his eye on the future. Because guess what? Now he owns 3 World Tower, which is what they renamed the Twin Towers to. So now he owns that. And it's brand new. So he got that. Then he just purchased the U.S. Bank Tower in Los Angeles. So this guy is thinking for future generations. He is planting seeds that will grow trees that he's never going to eat from. But he understands that it's bigger than him. It's for his children. Now, I am not praising this dude because I think he's the fucking devil personified. I think he's evil. I think he's extremely evil. But I'm just saying how they prepare, how they plan.
Well, see, that's the word. So living for the day don't mean don't plan and prepare for the future. But you do it on the day. You start waking up in the morning. Don't just go on Instagram, because if you know about sleeping and awakening, when you're awake, you're not really up yet. So the first thing you put in your brain can't be social media. First thing you're supposed to put in your brain is yourself, like breathing and meditating and taking it all in. Then you should journal a little bit. I journal. I write what my thoughts are. Then I might get on the floor and do something.
Man, that's your private business, right?
I'm just saying, I might do some push-ups or something, you know what I mean? Get on the floor and do something. Before I do, and I'm just learning these things I'm learning. So this is not like old habits. These are new habits I'm getting to. Because I just don't want to be in the bathroom with my phone as soon as, I ain't even woke up. And then you can prepare for your day, prepare what you got to do. Use your time wisely to prepare. so your future and your kids' future and their kids' future can be something.
Mm-hmm.
Preparation is everything.
Right.
So we don't take the time to prepare in that day, so our tomorrows will be great.
Right. Man, I just want to switch gears real quickly. Did you play football with Shannon Sharp?
I did.
Where?
Savannah State University.
What?
Yeah.
What were you, like a running back or something?
I played running back at Savannah State University. Played fullback. I was a freshman when he was a junior or senior.
You started?
No, I ain't started. I was just I played enough that I knocked some helmets off.
Shannon started though.
Yeah, Shannon was a beast.
Yeah.
Shannon was
Does he remember you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He remember me. Everybody remember me. I was Dirty Red. I was a 17-year-old knocking helmets off.
Yeah.
Story of Savannah State, I got my chance to play because when I got there, they put all the freshmen on what they call the practice squad. You know, you had to get off the practice squad on Bill Davis. They put you up against all of the dogs. And if you can make it through that, and I knocked this dude named Mud Helmet off. And Coach Davis said, you'll never be on the bench again. So went from that to being on a punt team, the kickoff team, knocking helmets off. Then they believed in me, started handing me that ball. Cause I was a bad motherfucker, like running the ball. I just couldn't stop being emotional. You know.
So you was charging up the coaches and all this stuff?
Nah, I ain't charging. No, I love the coaches.
But were you fighting your teammates?
Yeah, I fought teammates. Yeah, I fought teammates. I got in a fight with a teammate, and that's how I lost my football scholarship. And to this day, I can't say I regret it because it led me to a path of greatness. But I learned a lesson from that situation that helped me further in life.
Man, I got a buddy who was the greatest basketball player I ever saw in person with my own eyes. When I say this dude was automatic, he was from Kentucky. We called him Kentucky. He was automatic. Like any way he was on the floor, bam, bam, bam. We were freshmen. Me and him, you know, we lived by each other, so we used to go to the park and play basketball all the time. So, and I always made sure I was on his team. Mm-hmm. So this dude was, when I say automatic, he was strong too. He was lean, but he was strong. And this dude jump shot was just wicked, man. And go to the hole, whatever. He wasn't scared of the contact. None of that. In order to stop him, you really had to like hard foul him, like, cause he was just automatic, man. And I remember school was, he only played that freshman year. In his freshman year, they elevated him to varsity. Not only did they ever elevate him to varsity, we had a good team, by the way. And they took the point guard off the team not off the team, but he took the number one point guard position after about 3 games. Dang. He took that's a tough call for a coach to put a senior on the bench, right? This guy was a senior. He did not put him on the bench, but you know, he made him the you got the shooting guard, then you got the point guard, right? Made him the point. So, and elevated my boy to shooting guard. So now, after the year, his mom decided to move back to Kentucky. The coach wanted to pay give his mama $5,000. This is back in the 80s, right? Early 80s. The coach wanted to give his mom $5,000 to stay with him and you know, and play ball at the school. And the mom said, no, I'm taking my boy with me. So she took him. Every year, I'm looking for him. Like, where is he? You know, like, I know he playing for some college, right? Now, this is, you know, I'm looking for him. I can't find him nowhere. I'm at a concert where were we at? I'm with Ghetto Boys. We got a show. We got a show in Louisville, Kentucky. This is where he's from. He pops up this guy, one of the security guys come. We're on the bus. We're backstage. We're on the bus. The security guy comes. Hey, Will, you know a dude named Kentucky? I jumped up like a little kid, man. I was like, oh, man. I jump up. I run to the front floor. Yo, man. Yo, boy, where the fuck you been? Man, we pound up and everything. We, do the show. We go back to the hotel, and we start catching up. I said, man, what happened? What were you? He was like, man, I played for Louisville, but I was riding the bench because I used to get in fights all the time with my teammates. So I was always on some type of suspension or punishment. And then he said, then I went overseas to play, and I used to put up 30 points a game. And I know this is a fact because when he was in high school, he would put up 30 points and he'd be sitting down for the second half. He hardly ever played in the second half.
Damn.
They have him sitting on the bench. So he said, man, I put up 30 points, man. Then he said, I put up 30 points and I'd be sitting on the bench. And he said, the NBA scouts would come over there. They come out there and they'd scout me, and they would give me a report. So the report would go like shooting A, passing A, rebounds B, everything was A, B. And then at the very bottom, he said it would say uncoachable. And he said that's what stopped him. And he said that he would watch. He said as time went by, he saw when I broke with the Ghetto Boys and stuff, and he was like, that's my boy, that's Willie, And he said his friends didn't believe him and all that stuff. So now they believe him because now we connected. But it was just sad, man, because like I say, he was the greatest basketball player I ever saw with my own eyes. This guy was automatic, and it was his attitude that he admitted that held him back. And there's so many youngsters out there. I got another friend that was like that. He didn't get that far, but he was a really, really good basketball player too. But his attitude, it stunted his growth.
I was one of the best football players in the country. Coming out of high school, I felt like I can play with anybody. My grades wasn't that well. That's why I went to Savannah State. If I'd have stayed on the straight and narrow, I felt like I could have went pro too. But God always has something for you, and to see somebody I played with go pro from a small school, jumping over people's heads, Sharp played receiver. He was going against
somebody you shared the locker room with.
And laugh with and joke with and, timing of. We had the best team Savannah State will ever have. We
won the championship.
I think we lost 2 games one year. We were supposed to be in the NCAA Division II playoffs. And I think a week or so before we was getting ready to go, they said we couldn't go because we didn't have a girl tennis team. They pulled the rug from under us. It was the most, I think everybody on our team cried. Sharp, everybody. Because we worked so hard to get there. And, that's how they do. They raise the bar.
And move the goalpost.
That's what it's called, move the goalpost. And that's what they did. But, I always take my actions in my hand. I know what I do. I'm able to say I did it and how you move on from it. You can't go backwards and say what you should have did and who you could have been. You can only live for who you are right now. And I'm a bad motherfucker on stage, and thank God I got into them fights. Thank God I was, I got into trouble because it got me into a place where I did Def Comedy Jam and Apollo on the same weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I worked at Teen Summit. I worked my way up from Teen Summit to moving to New York and hitting some of the biggest stages. I went to LA, wrote some scripts and, became a great writer, and wrote for some of the greatest talents in America. wrote and filmed my own film, started my own film company. Now I got Red Grant Networks, where, you know, my media company is going to another level. I got Red Grant in the morning, where my morning show has moved up the ladder to be one of the funniest morning shows in the world. And as I look at the things that I'm doing now, I'm a family man, you know. I got kids, I got a wife, I got things that I can say I have that I don't want to mess up.
And I get that, man, because, you know, I had a question for you, and I want to make sure you don't mess up when I ask you this question.
Okay.
I saw on Instagram where you was talking about AI, you know, dating. Would you date an AI woman?
Look, I would. Let me say this. I know on my show we talked about, you know, dating the AI, because we get these funny stories about just people who want to date AI people, and they, you know. So the question came up: would you date an AI?
Yeah. If you wasn't married, would you date an AI?
That's,
can you date an AI woman when you're married?
You can, because the AI woman they're gonna get along with your wife, and your wife is gonna get along with them. Now, my thing is, and I've been telling my wife, she won't allow me to have it yet, but I think that these robots that they're gonna have in the future, it's gonna be something to look out for. They not gonna argue back. And I asked my wife, can we have one? She's not allowing me to have one yet. But I think I can date a robot in the future, guys. I swear to you. I think I can. They're going to be human-like, and I heard they're going to have the bombers of bomb.
Man, I also saw on your Instagram, and by the way, congratulations for that Instagram, because it's entertaining, and it's one of the, and you have a diverse, your topics are very diverse, and, you know, the type of content that you put out there. Sometimes you got people thinking, you know, you got them thinking about their health. Mm-hmm. You know, you got people thinking about business. You got them thinking about relationships with their friends and all of that type of stuff. Pretty much it's an extension of what you do on stage. I heard one of those Instagram posts you put up, I heard Donny Hathaway in the background. Mm-hmm. You have to know Donny Hathaway music to heard it, because it was very, very faint. But I heard it, and that was A Song for You. Mm-hmm. Donny Hathaway, it was a song. A Song for You was the name of the song. And that was a song that he had wrote for a former girlfriend. And he basically what he was saying in the song was that, you know, he's seen a lot of things in his lifetime. He's been a lot of places. He's written a lot of rhymes. But this is a very, very special song. And it's for you. Mm-hmm. Let's block the whole world out. If you could do that, you could block the whole world out. All of the people, including everybody that you love, everybody that you've ever come in contact to. If you could write that one song for one person who's had the greatest impact on your life, in the same vein that he wrote it, we're alone now, and I'm singing this song for you. Who would that person be?
Probably my mother.
Mom, huh?
Yeah, she had me.
Yeah.
She loved me. You know. Yeah, it'd be moms. And, you know, my wife too, and my daughters and all that too, but you can't get your moms back.
Well, your wife gonna say, your kids gonna say, well, you can't get us back either.
Nah, my wife and my kids know how I am as a person. They know how I love them. I love them to death. I love them. But if you saying that one song, and if a person don't say they moms or they pops or whatever, but that moms, they had you. They raised you. They birthed you. They put you on that they got you there. it would be her, you know, because I miss her so much.
Did y'all have a good relationship?
We
Did y'all
did.
talk a lot?
We talked enough. You know, I think we probably could have talked more. I wish I would have talked more to her. You know, being in the business, but the moments that we did talk, they were really good. She was one of the smartest people I knew. Business decisions that she made. You know, she sold real estate and she taught people how to buy properties and invest in themselves. She gave people opportunities to own homes when they wouldn't know how to own a home. And when people talk about my moms, they be like, your mother was like incredible. She was incredible. She helped us out. She always about what she helped. And that was her spirit. She always used to be like, we got to get together, y'all. We got to bring the family together. We got to keep the family together. We got to, you know, it was always about the family. So, you know, it would be her. Because I do that every Monday on my show. I do a med moment. It's a medicine for people. And I take one topic and I talk about it through that Donny Hathaway song. Singing that song for you, because I feel like my voice is a song that I'm singing for people. Like, you get a chance to hear my med moment. I don't write it down. It's nothing that's rehearsed. I just spit it off my head in that moment. And I feel like when you can talk to the world and you can share that part for you, for them, that's what she taught me. So I always tell people, you know, as much as we happy and we do all this, it's a seriousness to comedy. We not here to joke all the time. We just here to move people, to see themselves, to laugh at themselves. And when you can laugh at yourself, you can beat so many odds. And I just want people, because you don't know what people are going through. They might be in the bed. They can't even get up in the morning. And hopefully my word for them will be motivation to get through their week, get through their day. Just get up and do something. And I think it's my responsibility as a human to make people see the serious side of life, even when you're laughing. So I try to do that every Monday. I give people a mad moment. Like people, like even Snoop, he played on his podcast, My Mad Moments, on his podcast. And so many people probably should grab him, and because I'm telling you, they just be off the head. And I look back at them sometimes, I be like, God damn, you moved that one. You know. And Donny Hathaway was a powerful individual. He died young. But the music that he made was heavy.
Yeah, when I think about that song, my answer would be my mama too. And I'm gonna tell you, I didn't have a close, like, affectionate relationship with my mother, but I come from the school of love mama no matter what.
Yeah.
I come from that school, that era.
Yeah.
I'm cut from that cloth.
Yeah.
And so when I think about the relationship I had with my mother, if I go back, you know, I think that I could have actually been a better son. Because
me too.
Because when you are like in that type of situation where you feel like you're getting a short end of the stick and they got all the power and you being pushed around, you don't think about what they're going through or what. And I'm not making an excuse for any parent, especially abusive parents, but there's a story there and there's a reason why they're the way they are.
Yeah.
I never took the time out to try to understand that because I was just dealing with my own trauma. So, but yeah, if I had that one person to write that type of song to, it would hands down be my mother.
Yeah.
And that is not to prioritize, her over anybody else in my life that I love.
Right.
It's just that, like you say, she brought me here. Yeah.
And kids right now, and no disrespect, but I think they lack discipline. Our mothers were disciplinarians. And when you don't get that discipline, it seemed wrong at the time when you're getting it, but it made me a better person. Because if she'd have let me go out in the street and do what I wanted to do, if she would have allowed me to just talk any kind of way in her house, I wouldn't know no respect.
I think discipline is good if it's done in love and the child understands that love. It's not beat you, send you to your room, don't talk to you for 2 days. No, it's a lot come with if you're gonna physically, discipline your child. That child still, and I think every child is smart enough to know that I know my mama still love me. She just whooped my ass, but first of all, I deserved it. And, for everything that she do for me, the way she talks to me outside of what she just did, I know my mama loved me, you see? So that's, I think, because sometimes parents, they can get that mixed up because there'll be somebody listening to us right now like, yeah, he's talking about whoop their ass, yeah, whoop that. Like if you got to whoop a child, if whooping a child is your number one, if that's your primary source of discipline, you're doing something wrong.
Well, you don't have to whoop them no more, right? Like, I don't know if I ever gave my daughter maybe 2 spankings in her life, right? But if I take that goddamn iPad, if I take her phone right now, I'm talking about her game when she was young, and just let her be in the room by herself with nothing. Oh my God, she come out the nicest. Hey, Dad. Hey, yo, I love you, Dad. And she do that to this day. I love you. Can I get my? Because they want that phone. They want that. It's a different discipline now.
Yeah.
But you still need the discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, like I said, their brain ain't developed yet, and they will say some crazy stuff and think they can get away with it. They think they slicker than you, and you've been slick all your life.
Yeah. Well, the key is start early.
Yeah.
Don't wait till they're 14 years old, 15, and then start trying to get a handle. You know what? Just go live with your daddy.
Nah, it don't work like that.
Yeah, it don't work like that.
No, it don't.
Man, but thank God that you put it in the work.
Nah, thank God. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God. Thank God for people like yourself that can bring me on your show and take a chance and let people know who I really am.
Yeah, well, if I was in Vegas, I wouldn't make that much money taking a chance on you because Vegas betting too. You know what I'm saying? Vegas betting on you too. So you know what I'm saying?
Hey, it's all good.
When the chance ain't that big of a chance, you don't make as much money. Now if you was a long shot, that'd be different. But you ain't no long shot by far, man.
No, I appreciate it.
But I thank you for coming on the show, man.
No, I appreciate you for having me, man, and just allowing me to let people know where my spirit is.
Absolutely.
And hopefully that we change some spirits on this interview that, people can grow from it. Because I don't give many interviews.
Yeah.
You don't see me on a lot of interviews. But when I do sit down, I want to sit down with a real one. And you a real one.
Appreciate you, King.
Respect.
Ladies and gentlemen, Red Grant.
Yeah, thank y'all.
No more talk.